Well, thanks, Lisa. So, welcome everyone to our session on submitting electronic case files to OFO on appeal. Sort of a technical session today that for those of you who are here, I'm sure are anxious to hear about. Our speakers today are, as Lisa mentioned, Miła Vukovic and Dan Detterman will be chiming in to answer questions as well. Miła will be the principal speaker today, though. And we do have a couple things we want to talk about, some ground rules, so to speak, about how we want to deal with questions. Lisa mentioned that you can press *6 to mute and unmute your phone, but we would like you, if you have questions, to hold those or put them in the chat so we can address them later at the end of the session, at the end of the basics that Miła is going to go over. And then we will take questions. You can put them in chat so you don't forget them. And we'll address those as we go through at the end, or you can unmute your phone and ask the question verbally, which is fine as well.
Excuse me, Tim.
Yes.
You're going in and out. I don't know if you might need to face the microphone on your computer or if it's a phone already.
I hope that's better. Is that better?
That is for the moment.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. So as I was saying, we're going to hold questions till the end if some of you didn't hear me. And so you can put questions in the chat, which we will address when Miła has finished with the presentation and we get questions, or you can unmute your phone with *6 to ask a question verbally. I'd like to introduce Miła Vukovic. She is the program analyst and appellate review program, and Dan Detterman as well, as I mentioned. He is an attorney advisor for the Compliance Control Division. So, Miła?
Thank you, Tim. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. This webinar is designed to provide an overview of the complaint file submission process on the appellate level. The regulations that govern the appellate process are found in 29 CFR 1614 and in Management Directive 110. 1614-403E states the complaint file must be submitted within 30 days of initial notification that the complainant has filed an appeal or within 30 days of submission of an appeal by the agency. Additionally, 1614-403G requires that these submissions are in a digital format. If the complete complaint file is not submitted within this time frame or is not submitted in the required format, the Commission may take appropriate action, including drawing an inference adverse to the agency in all matters where the evidence is not available. This could result in a decision unfavorable to the agency. MD 110 provides guidance to agencies on the EEO complaint process. Specifically, Chapter 6, Section 8 describes the contents of the complaint file to include the organization of the file, while Chapter 9 outlines the appellate process. Appendix L provides digital submission format and requirements. Since the launch of the appeals application in FEDSEP back in October 2015, complaint files have been submitted in several different formats that are not always compliant with MD 110 and 1614. In the following slides, we will highlight these common problems and how to avoid them. The most frequent problem involves appeals in which a hearing was held. Oftentimes, the hearing record is not uploaded into the file or it's incomplete. If the complaint was the subject of a hearing, all documents submitted by the parties to the AJ and all notices, rulings, and orders submitted by the AJ must be uploaded to the appeal file in FEDSEP. The hearing documents uploaded into the hearings application in FEDSEP will not be transferred over on appeal. There are often multiple documents submitted during the course of a hearing, and these documents are not consolidated or bookmarked, which is a requirement on appeal as noted in MD 110 and 1614. The next common issue is the lack of digital bookmarks in files. MD 110 has long required agencies to organize their administrative complaint files and reports of investigation using tabs or other indicators to better identify where important documents are located by using electronic bookmarks. Electronic bookmarks in PDF documents are hyperlinks that will take the user to the bookmark page in the document. These digital bookmarks must be descriptive. Do not use generic terms such as tab 1. Even if a table of contents identifies what document can be found at tab 1, the idea is to make it easy for the reader to quickly identify and navigate to the important documents merely by looking at the bookmark descriptions. These digital bookmark requirements also apply to the hearing record. Another common issue involves unreadable file submissions. Before uploading files into FEDSEP, agencies should review the files for image quality to ensure the document image is clear and all text is legible. Pages are properly oriented, meaning upright, not upside down, and the document is aligned and not skewed. Agencies should also ensure non-relevant information is not in the complaint file, where names, social security numbers, home addresses, and any other personal identifying information are not relevant. That information should be redacted before the document containing them is included in the complaint file. Submissions of image-only PDF files. Agency submissions must be in a searchable PDF format or PDF image over text. A searchable PDF file lets you search for keywords in the text or use copy and paste to extract text from a PDF. Failing to consolidate file submissions. There are instances where agencies will upload several small files and label them all with one document type. Files should not be broken down into multiple separate files. Instead, the files must be consolidated into as few files as possible and labeled with the appropriate document type, such as complaint file, report of investigation or ROI, and for the hearing record, hearing pleadings and correspondence. Next issue, uploading password-protected or encrypted documents into the files. FEDSEP is a secure application, and password-protected or encrypted documents should never, and I emphasize never, be uploaded. Last but not least, one common issue is ignoring OFO document requests. OFO will aggressively utilize sanctions if parties fail without good cause shown to comply with the appellate procedures or to respond fully and timely to information requests. Sanctions may be used to effectuate the policies of the Commission by both deterring the non-complying party from similar conduct in the future and by providing an equitable remedy to the opposing party. This language is pulled directly from MD 110, Chapter 9, Section 5. If you receive a document request from OFO, please respond and upload the requested documents within the time frame outlined in the email. The document request and the agency's response or lack thereof will be uploaded into the file and become a part of the record. Keep in mind, the EEOC public portal now allows complainants to gain access to their appeal files and view uploaded documents. Next, we'll go over the digital submission requirements. Per MD 110, all submissions on appeal shall be in a searchable PDF with the contents electronically bookmarked. This means files must be in a searchable image over text PDF, and electronic bookmarks must be labeled with specificity, such as formal complaint, and not labeled with generic terms such as tab 1. Submissions must be consolidated into as few files as possible in order to improve the speed and efficiency of OFO's review of an appeal. Ideally, the entire complaint file, report of investigation, and hearing record, if applicable, would be scanned and consolidated into a single PDF document. However, we recognize these files may consist of hundreds or thousands of pages, and agency bandwidth restrictions may affect the upload of a single large document. In these instances, the agency may have to upload more than one single PDF. If this is the case, please remember to consolidate and upload as few PDF files as possible. For those agencies without bandwidth restrictions, please note there's no file size limit in FEDSEP. All electronic document submissions must be 508 compliant. Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act requires all electronic and information technology, also referred to as Information and Communication Technology, or ICT, that is developed, procured, maintained, or used by a federal agency to be accessible to people with disabilities. Examples of information and communication technology, or ICT, include PDF, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Any questions regarding 508 compliance should be directed to your agency's 508 coordinator. Do not send your 508 questions to me. If you do not know who your agency's 508 coordinator is, you can go to the web address listed in this slide, which contains a list of all agency 508 coordinators. Additionally, guidance on making documents accessible can be found at the website listed. At the end of this presentation, there's a resources slide which will include these links. Part of the submission process includes choosing the correct document type for the file in FEDSEP. In accordance with MD 110, Appendix L, the complete complaint file should be scanned and consolidated into as few files as possible. Ideally, the complete complaint file should be consolidated into one single PDF and labeled as complaint file. However, if this is not possible, there typically should be no more than 4 uploads into an appeal file in FEDSEP. The 4 document types that should be used are complaint file. If the agency cannot upload a single PDF, then this document type should be used for the file that consists of everything except the ROI and hearing record, if there was a hearing. This includes the appeal request and final agency decision or final order. The complaint file should be combined, digitally bookmarked, and uploaded as one PDF. The next document type is report of investigation. This document type is used for the ROI only, which should be combined, digitally bookmarked, and uploaded as one PDF. Hearings, pleadings, and correspondence. If there was a hearing, this document type is used for the complete hearing record. This includes motions, orders, the administrative judge's final order, hearing transcripts, and exhibits. The hearing file should be combined, digitally bookmarked, and uploaded as one PDF. The last document is agency statements and brief. This document type should be used for the agency brief. The brief and any exhibits should be combined and uploaded as one PDF. The documents in the file will be determined by the type of appeal docketed. Types of appeal include those on final agency decision or final agency action. This can include decisions on settlement breaches, attorney's fees, and compensatory damages, decisions of the MSPB, and agency appeal of an administrative judge's decision. Listed in this slide are key documents that must be digitally bookmarked in accordance with MD 110, Appendix L. So for example, if the complainant is appealing the agency's decision on a settlement agreement breach, the file should include, at minimum, the decision, a copy of the settlement agreement, and proof the agency has complied with the agreement. Or if the complainant is appealing a decision in which a hearing was held, along with the complaint file and ROI, the complete hearing record must be uploaded. This includes pre-hearing submissions and hearing submissions such as motions, orders, exhibits, and transcripts. Regardless of the type of appeal, the format requirements remain the same. The files must be consolidated into as few files as possible and digitally bookmarked in a manner consistent with MD 110 Appendix L. Remember, digital bookmarks should be descriptive, containing a hyperlink to the specific document in the file. This slide provides a sample of digital bookmarks in a complaint file. As you can see, key documents are bookmarked, such as the EEOC counselor report, the notice of right to file, the ROI, and affidavits. When you click on each of these bookmarks, it'll take you directly to the document in the file, which is what we're looking for. So these next slides are extremely important because it covers the hearing record. Most of the document requests we send out to agencies involve missing hearing documents. If the complaint was adjudicated by an EEOC AJ, the complaint file must include copies of all documents issued by or served on the AJ, including but not limited to all correspondence to and from the AJ, orders from the AJ, and motions and briefs of the parties, as noted in MD 110, Chapter 9, Section 4. So let's go over what this means, because there's been confusion regarding the agency's responsibility to submit the complete hearing record. In some instances, the agency does not believe it's their responsibility to provide the complainant's submissions during a hearing, or they don't believe a document was important enough to include in the file. MD 110 makes it clear. The complaint file must include copies of all, and all documents issued by or served on the AJ. This includes documents from the complainant. Regardless if there was a summary judgment or hearing was held, or if the complainant withdrew their hearing request, all the documents must be submitted. The agency is responsible for submitting hearing documents even if they're not maintained by the EEO office. For example, if the hearing documents are with the agency's Office of General Counsel, they must be retrieved and included with the complaint file submission. This is also another important point. Hearing documents uploaded into the file in the hearings application in FEDSEP will not be transferred over to the appeal. If there is an appeal, the complete hearing record must be uploaded into the appeal file in FedSep. As previously stated, there are often multiple documents submitted during the course of a hearing, and these documents are not consolidated or bookmarked, which is a requirement on appeal, as noted in MD 110 and 1614. Remember that the agency must ensure the prompt submission of complete complaint files upon notice that a complainant has filed an appeal or upon the agency's determination not to fully implement the AJ's decision. Please see MD 110, Chapter 9. In accordance with MD 110, the hearing record must contain digital bookmarks that identify key documents. Do not use generic labels and do not bookmark the entire hearing record under one nondescript tab. If a case went to hearing, there can easily be thousands of pages, which is why these digital bookmarks are so critical. Remember, the idea is to make it easy for the reader to quickly identify and navigate to the important documents by looking at the bookmark descriptions. Listed on this slide are sample bookmarks of key documents in the hearing record, such as the transcript and the AJ decision. All agency submissions must be uploaded to OFO in FedSep. As previously stated, typically there should be no more than 3 uploads into an appeal file, not including the agency's brief. Preferably, agencies should consolidate the complaint file, ROI, hearing record into one PDF. However, these files can be individually uploaded using the following document types: complaint file, report of investigation, and hearing pleadings and correspondence. Do not upload multiple files with the same document type. For example, if there are 4 separate parts of a complaint file, those files should be consolidated into one PDF, digitally bookmarked, and labeled with appropriate document type. Do not upload documentation into a closed matter in FedSep. This occurs quite frequently. Once the initial appeal is closed, agencies should not upload anything else to the appeal. Instead, any responsive documents must be uploaded to the new docket number assigned to the matter. If there's nothing docketed or the agency is requesting reconsideration, these requests must be submitted using the undocketed submission feature in FedSep and not uploaded into the compliance file either. When creating an undocketed submission, agencies must upload a copy of the complainant's appeal. Oftentimes, the agency will upload everything but the complainant's appeal request. If the appeal is not docketed, that most likely means our office did not receive a copy of the appeal. And lastly, agency documents mailed, emailed, or faxed will not be accepted. Do not send courtesy copies via email, fax, or mail. Once you upload it into FedSep, that's enough for us. Finally, ensure your access to the appeal file in FedSep. Users with the FedSep appeals role can view and submit documentation for all appeals in which his or her registered agency is named. Users with the FedSep appeals legal representative role can view and submit documentation only for those appeals to which they are assigned in FedSep. Also, only users with an appeals role can use the undocketed submission feature. Users with an appeals legal representative role cannot use the undocketed submission feature. Make sure you're in the correct application in FedSep. If you're trying to use the undocketed submission feature to submit a hearing request, please ensure you're in the hearings application in FedSep. Do not use the appeals application to create an undocketed submission for a hearing request. Lastly, we'd like to remind agencies that the appeal status is listed in FedSep and the EEOC public portal. If the complaint file has not been uploaded, the status will read complaint file not received. If you have an appeals role in FedSep, you can check the status of each open appeal and export that list into an Excel document. Upon an initial review of the files, our office will change the status to complaint file received. If later on we find the file is incomplete, our office will request the documents from your agency. All the information presented in this webinar can be found at the links listed on the slide. 1614 and MD 110 Chapter 9 outlines the appeals process to the Commission. MD 110 Appendix L provides digital format requirements for the complaint file, and MD 110 Chapter 6 highlights what the complaint file should consist of. We also have included links on how to consolidate PDFs and how to convert image-only PDFs to searchable PDFs. Finally, we provided a link to agency 508 coordinators and guidance on making documents accessible. So that's it for the presentations portion of this webinar. We can now open it up to any questions you might have for us.
So Miwa, this is Tim. We haven't received any questions as of yet in the chat, and I
Okay.
suspect that because we're getting a lot of requests for a copy of the slides, that perhaps people are digesting your presentation a little bit. So anybody have questions that they haven't put in chat that they wanted to raise verbally? Remember, you can *6 will unmute your phone and you can ask the question.
Also, I'd just like to add, if you can't think of any questions now, please feel free to contact me. You can send me an email at miwa.vikovic@eeoc.gov.
Actually, thank you. That was my next question, whether people, after they have a chance to review the information, specific questions, they could just email and you'd be able to answer them that way.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of information to digest. So some of the questions may not pop up till later on, and that's fine. Feel free to email me.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. This is Stacy from USCIS. I just have a question. We have a case in appeal, and the complainant sent us, the agency, a bunch of her documents, and we're not sure if we're supposed to upload those and how we would name them, or if she would need to go into the portal to do that herself. We just weren't sure. We wanted to do that if we could, but when we looked at kind of naming them, I mean, they're her arguments. Can you give us some advice on that?
Well, do you know if she provided a cover sheet or anything saying that she's also sending this to us, or does it look like she just sent it to you guys?
Yeah, it looks like she just sent it to us. It doesn't show anything going to you or to anyone else.
And you didn't see anything in FedSep either, where we scanned and uploaded it?
No, it's not in there.
Okay.
So we could scan and upload it, but it's, I don't know. So
they're responsible for sending it to us, but that would be helpful if you can scan and upload it as one document. I don't know how many documents she sent to you, but if you can upload it as one document, you don't have to bookmark it or anything, because it's obviously a submission from the complainant.
Right.
That you're just courtesy copying to us, so we appreciate that.
Okay, is there a specific name in that listing we should use, pleadings, or?
You can, is complainant statements or briefs, is that available?
Okay.
That should be, that's
right.
one of the document types listed, yeah. And if it's still confusing, feel free to reach out to me.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Again, you can put those in the chat, or you can just unmute your phone and ask them directly. Okay, Miwa, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, there's nothing else I really want to add. As I said before, it's a lot of information to take in, but please feel free to email me with your questions, and we'll provide you with a response. And hopefully this presentation has been helpful, and thank you.
Thank you, Miwa. We also will, because of the volume of those who have requested to be on the session, which was limited, we will be planning on doing a repeat session sometime in the next several weeks. Perhaps in addition to those who weren't able to get on today, if you had certain parts that you needed to rehear, you can do that as well. So unless there's something else that someone wants to raise, I think that will do it for today. Again, thank you, Miwa, for your presentation. And if you have questions, again.
Tim, before
Yes.
we do that, why don't let me unmute the phone lines, because there may be some folks that may not be able to unmute themselves, just to be sure that we got everyone. Okay. So I am unmuting the phone lines for all participants that are still on the line. If you have something else going on in the background, just ask that you mute your phone back for me, please. So I'm unmuting everyone. Okay. All participants have been well, let's see.
Okay,
Yeah.
now that everyone has a microphone, has to unmute themselves. Are there any questions? Okay, the slides for today, for those of you who they haven't been sent to already, they will be sent. So you'll have a chance to look at those. And then if you have other questions, as we spoke about, to contact me directly as is listed on the screen with that email address. And the contact for Nan.
Hello, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi. This is Brenda Harris with the National Labor Relations Board, and this is a question for clarification. This is a very clear presentation, but in the practice of it, it's a little bit, new for us. So as regards to on appeal, because agency representatives are designated in FedSep, what's the best practice for which office is responsible for, let's say, uploading the entire hearings record, the transcript, the briefs? Typically, the Office of EEO does not have that complete record. Agency counsel would. Do you have a recommendation as to the best practice for agencies?
Well, I know most agencies, that's pretty much how it happens, is that the EEO office will upload the complaint file, the ROI, and OGC will upload the hearing record. Usually they'll coordinate with each other, and so the OGC will upload a copy of the complete hearing record. If you want to have someone from OGC who does not actively litigate, you can put them on the appeals contacts page. So that way, whenever we docket something, they'll receive instant notification that an appeal has been docketed. So they'll know, and the information will be in there, the complainant's name, the appeal number, plus the agency number. So they'll know if it's a case where a hearing was held, they'll have to upload those documents. So that could be one way, instead of maybe just waiting for the EEO office to tell them, hey, this has been filed, please upload the documents.
Got it. Direct notification from OFO to a person in the OGC's office who's not an active litigator. They may have a paralegal or something.
Yes.
And that person, so we are OEO, I'm the overall approver of roles.
Okay.
In FedSep, so I can approve that person's role, and they can be designated, and they'll get notification directly from the FedSep system, and that'll trigger their requirement on appeal to upload documents. Is that sort of what you're saying?
You don't have to approve a role. So, and what I can do is, if you can send me an email,
Yes.
and then I'll provide you with specific guidance, the instructions on how to add an appeal contact in FedSep, but you would be adding them to the appeals contact page. And the reason why we say the person cannot be actively litigating any cases, because it would be a Privacy Act violation. Basically, anybody on that contact page will receive notification of all appeals filed and all appeals closed. So they're going to be receiving stuff that they may not need to know, not have a need to know. So if you send me an email, I can, it's in the user guide, the FedSep appeal user guide, but I can point you directly on how to add an appeal contact. So, and then once that person is added, they'll receive all notification that an appeal is open or closed.
Hey, I appreciate that. I'll send you an email.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Mila, there are several questions.
I'm sorry, Tim, I can't hear you.
There are some more questions in the chat. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
you're
hear you
kind of
now.
going in and out, Tim.
Okay, I'm not sure why, but so one of the questions about tabs for the complainant. We saw a lot of tabs for the agency. Will there be more tabs for the complainant?
I'm sorry, say that again. Or...
about the tabbing features in FedSep, or I guess the submissions, wondering about tabs for the complainant, although they add tabs, don't they? So I'm not exactly quite sure what they mean.
I'm not sure about the question, but FedSep is solely for the agency use. There's a separate EEOC public portal that the complainants can now register and gain access to the documents, but it's a complete separate portal. It doesn't look like FedSep. It's completely different. So I'm not really sure about that question. Whoever asked it, feel free to just email me, shoot me the question, and then maybe I can understand it a little better and then respond.
Okay, another question is, when you say the complaint file should be 508 compliant, does that include any PDF files or forms?
Yeah, it includes anything that's PDF. Any electronic submission by the agency has to be 508 compliant. That includes all PDFs, any Word documents, any Excel documents, anything. It has to be 508 compliant.
All right. Any other questions before we sign off?
And I just encourage everybody to go to that link, which provides a list of all the agency's 508 coordinators, and contact your 508 coordinator if you have any questions. If you still have questions and found that they haven't been helpful, you can always reach out to me and I can try and help. But I would suggest you go through them first.
Okay. Thank you, Miwa. You may note that we have sent out a copy of the presentation to everyone who signed in today, so you should have all received that. If you didn't receive it, then
if you didn't receive it, you can email me. I can send you a copy.
Right, exactly. So thank you. Apologize for any technical difficulties that we had in this presentation today. We thank Miwa. And we thank Dan for being there. And I guess he's had some technical difficulties as well, so he hasn't been able to speak, which a number of people have tried to do that to him at the agency for a while. So we finally muted him. In any case, sorry, Dan. Thank you very much. And we've given you all the information for future questions, and there will be a follow-up presentation next couple of weeks. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. The recording will be available this afternoon on YouTube.
Thank you, Lisa.
My pleasure. Thank you. We appreciate you greatly.
Oh, one final thing from Dan. He wants to tell people about the Fed's Appeals at EEOC email address. If you look in your chat, you'll be able to see that email address. So thank you, Dan.
Okay, I can hear him typing. Okay. Awesome.